All right, welcome to the show, Kenzie. I am so sorry, although I had nothing to do with it, but what a nightmare. This cable was just making all this noise and I couldn't replace it, and so I hope this is all right.
Yeah, it's all right. I think we're going to run into technical difficulties once in a while, but it's all right.
You're always the voice of reason. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like, you're about to lose your mind with all the technical things because I can't do anything on my end. It's all over on your side.
Well, I didn't change anything from, the Wednesday live show, and so, okay, fine. So maybe the only difference is that I didn't have that line opened up. Okay, fine. So whatever. So then I went and got another cable, and then I swapped that, and it was worse. So then I used the Bluetooth pairing, but that just doesn't sound good. And here we are anyway on Bluetooth, but whatever. It's an evolution.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Is it, though?
I don't know. Depends on the day.
Excuse me, but I feel like with you lately it's not been. But also I feel for me the same. So it's not like casting dispersions. I just think everything is in chaos, and poor decision making is abundant everywhere.
Yes, that's abundantly clear.
So I know we have like a short list of things to talk about. Why don't you want to talk about the Muppets? Because it's been talked about ad nauseum, or because you're going to get heat?
I think because I'm going to get heat. Like, just being in your lives and watching some of the comments, I can tell that I have an unpopular opinion in where I don't care for the Muppets. Like, I've never seen that show in Hollywood studios. I've never grew up watching the Muppets. Like, the Muppets remind me of my dad. It's not saying I dislike my dad. I just like that. It felt like that was his generation, not mine.
Well, listen, if I knew you were going to have such a negative opinion, I would have left the bad cable in.
Just to keep me quiet.
No, just to have your opinions drowned out by static, which really actually sounded like an airplane or something. But no, I get what you're saying. I'm defeated. And I went to IAPA the day before that announcement, so that was Thursday with my buddy. Which, by the way, I wanted to stream it. The signal was bad. The Wi-Fi was problematic. So I tried to stream it a little bit, but in all honesty, and we could talk about IAPA a little bit here, but I was so immersed in everything around me and with the right kind of person that I just wanted to soak it up,
Yeah.
But I was talking to him on the drive back, and I just because I always ask him questions, and I get answers to a lot of things that I can't talk about. And he'll say to me, he goes, do not repeat that one. He goes, because like 15 people know that, and we'll get called into a room. And I'm like, yeah, no, been there, done that. Like, I remember my days back in TV. I've certainly had 15 people called into a room.
Your place. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you know your place in that.
Oh, I thought you were insulting me because I'm so used to it.
Come on.
I was like, excuse me?
That's fair. That's fair, though.
Right? Well, I mean, you play. So anyway, so I said to him, the comment that I made was, their silence on it is so loud that I almost know it's coming. So the fact that the announcement was made the next morning on a Friday going into a holiday weekend, I was almost just numb to it because I had made that comment had come out of my mouth. So there was almost this acceptance. I adore the Muppets. I think it's horrible that there's no respect for Jim Henson's legacy. But moreover, I just find it to be lazy. And I could talk more about this, Monday, and because I know you don't really want to get into it. And obviously, the more I think about it, the more I'll get worked up. But I just think that irrespective of what you think of the Muppets, what they're doing is lazy. And they do deceptive artwork. The original piece of artwork made it look like Animation Courtyard. And then they do this game, you know. And I don't know. I think when it's all said and done, if they were going to wow you and build Monstropolis, that'd be exciting. But what they show you is that they're just going to retheme the existing buildings and extend it a little bit. And I'm just like, Disney's just so devoid of creativity. So that's my larger takeaway, is the lack of creativity. And there's an outcry and an outrage over the Muppets, and I mean, on an emotional level, I adore the Muppets, but I give up. I can't. What am I going to yell about everything?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of disagree with you. I think.
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
It is. We started. No, I think that they're just utilizing the space that has been like tired, and they're just trying to make it come back to life. Like, I don't think they have to repurpose a lot of things, because if you look at like the town that Monsters Inc. is in, it kind of has the same like features and I guess like architecture with the brick buildings and like the city feel. Like, I don't think they're gonna have to do a lot, and I'm not upset about it.
Well, you're making my point though, because where's the wow factor in that? You know, Disney is usually known for presenting this wow factor. I remember going to see Avengers Campus and being so underwhelmed by it, and almost confused because I expected to be wowed by it. And so I don't know. I get what you're saying, like, and I get the logical side of that conversation. I just think, you know, Disney is known for going above and beyond, and they're in this, somebody else's words, not mine, but they're in their era of recycling. So what you're going to see is pieces of the Muppet stuff go over to Rock and Roller Coaster, and it's just none of it is none of it's earth shattering, none of it's groundbreaking, or, you know,
it's not innovative.
Thank you, that's the word I'm looking for, or dare I say epic.
No.
You know, so
yeah.
It's just sad to me that that's where they've come as a company, that they're scrambling to reorganize deck chairs on the Titanic.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say, I feel like they're going to put all of their innovation and creativity into like 3 things for Monstropolis. It's going to be the new roller coaster, which I'm so excited about. This new show that they're talking about, which I heard it might.
You heard from the same idiot content creator that everybody else heard, because they do is run their mouth. They don't have anything to base it off of. They zoomed in on the art like everybody else and made a video, because if they're not in the park, they're so desperate for attention they must. Go on.
So do you think that Laugh Floor is going to be like this new
Disney?
Show that they're
Disney said
about?
It's a new show. Disney said yesterday it's a new show. So that's why don't listen to everything that comes out of a running mouth.
Okay, and then the third thing, which I really hope happens, is...
Imagine waking up and I got to make that video today. Me, I'm the other way. Me, I'm like, I don't want to make the video because I don't want to hear what these nutnicks have to say. I made the one fakakta video on the People Mover. Yeah, I made the video on the People Mover. You know what I mean? You got these people who are waking up. Honey, get out the green screen. Could you steam the green screen? No, what? Don't worry about feeding the kids. Give the kids an Uncrustable and put them in front of Bluey. I got to make a TikTok. Like, can you imagine like that life? Like, I got 650,000 followers. I could make a video on anything and everything. People are like, there are people there that will watch it, and I don't do it because I think it through, and I'm like, do you really need another Muppet video? Do you really need a Disney adult crying about the Muppets? So the person you're talking about, because their video hit everybody's FYP, because they're just blowing hot air and basically creating clickbait, is what makes everybody else look bad, and is why when I do make a video like something factual on the People Mover, you get all those nunnicks in the comments.
Yeah, well, because they're making videos on stuff that has been confirmed and released. It's like, just go read the article. Like, you don't have to make a video on it.
Right.
Nobody cares about your opinion.
Oh, I zoomed in and I saw that it's going to be Monsters Inc. Let me make a video.
Yeah. No, wait, let me tell you the other thing, though, that I'm excited for, that I think they're going to put some energy into.
Well, we killed 5 minutes with that rant. Go on.
I know. Harryhausen. how cool is that place going to be if they make it into like a sushi hibachi type restaurant?
Yeah, no, I'm for that. But, because it's Disney, they'll turn Pizza Rizzo into that. And people will be like, "Urgh." I don't understand the love for Pizza Rizzo. You want to talk about getting blowback?
I don't either.
I don't understand the love for Pizza Rizzo. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous.
Oh, yeah. My sisters are devastated, which I thought was hilarious. And, like, we never go there when we're in Hollywood Studios.
It's breadsticks and marinara.
Food. All the exact same food is at Catalina Eddie's right outside of the Fantasmic entrance. Like, the super, like, bland, unseasoned pizza and
Rosie's All-American.
Yeah. Like, that's all the same food. And when you go into Pizza Rizzo, it's empty. It's like, I'm not surprised that they're making all of these changes over in this Muppet area because I don't know anybody that goes over there.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's all I'm saying.
Mama Melrose is terrible.
Mama Melrose is serviceable. I'll take Mama Melrose over Pizza Pizza Rizzo any day of the week. I don't get the love for Pizza Rizzo. Do not. And by the way, you want to know which place I avoid like the plague? And anytime I ever wander in there, I want to escape like it's Alcatraz, which is the Backlot Express.
Oh, I don't even think I've been over there.
You know what I'm talking about? It's nestled between Star Tours and Indiana Jones. And
yep.
Yeah. And once you get into there, you're like in a whole world, and you're in a world of people that are trying to take your table from you before you're finished eating. So if they see that you have like the last fry off, I don't even know if they sell fries there, but like the last fry off your plate, like they're already sitting in your lap. Like it's just high stakes theme park dining over there, and it's not for me.
That place looks like it fits over by Dinoland. Like it looks like a tired Jurassic Park. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's the building I met Jim Henson in when I was a little kid.
Oh,
I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't fit over there.
No, I've told the story 100 times, and I'll probably tell it again next week. But like, I'm a little kid, and Muppets isn't even open yet. It's the last thing Henson did, and I'm in that place ordering a meatball parm sub. All right, meatballs, marinara, provolone cheese. Eat your heart out, Pizza Rizzo. Okay, there was no Pizza Rizzo when I ordered this thing, and I'm waiting for it, and in come Chip and Dale, followed by Kermit and Piggy of the same scale, okay, and then Jim Henson. And I got to find the picture, but somewhere it's like I'm waving to Jim Henson and he's waving to me, and there's just this picture of the back of my head and this little afro, okay, and Jim Henson. And that's like I've held on to that picture my whole life.
That's cool.
I think it's in L.A. though. So there's an emotional side, but all I would say to what your point about that area being dead is absolutely 100%. But why not make it a Muppet land? Why do you own the Muppets if you're doing nothing with them? And why spend money to move them across the park? Build that out as Muppet Land and have Monsters Inc. land over an animation courtyard and have the best of both worlds. I mean, you own the Muppets. You literally don't know what to do with the Muppets.
Are the Muppets still relevant?
They should be.
Sorry, this is where people are going
right,
to
but
be so mad in my opinion.
There's a gap there post Muppets Tonight and pre Disney Plus where there was no Muppet output. You know, you had that one Jason Segel movie, which I can't watch anything, okay? Anything without Jim Henson in it, I can't watch.
Well, and I didn't realize that there was like so when the Rock and Roller Coaster news came out, first of all, devastated. Second of all, I was like, how is this relevant? How is this anything that people are going to be excited about? And apparently there was some like Muppet Mayhem show or movie released on Disney Plus like a year ago.
No, okay.
I've never even heard of it.
Kensie, listen to me. Forget all that.
I don't know if I want to.
You don't want to listen to me? The whole show is predicated on a conversation. If you're not listening, you're just like every other American running their mouth without listening.
Go ahead.
At least I brought it back to the theme. Look, the Electric Mayhem were like a kooky literally band of sidekicks within the Muppets, okay? They were never front and center. So they're being overused in a way that they were never meant to be. You know, Disney loves to do kooky critters and all that kind of stuff, and I almost feel like what they're doing with the Electric Mayhem is the same thing. It's like, oh, the kooky critters. The Electric Mayhem were the hippie, you know, dope smoking Muppets that showed up to wreak a little havoc because they were like on their way to the next whatever to play, you know, festival. Like in the first Muppet movie, I mean, there's a whole sequence with the bus. So the Electric Mayhem were outcasts, and they're just being used in the wrong way. They weren't meant to be the front-facing aspect of the Muppets. That's supposed to be Kermit and Piggy and Fozzie and you know, maybe Ralph. But like, no, your core Muppets are them. I mean, I'm somebody that worked for the Muppets, so I was an intern in college, and I actually worked in publishing. So in the publishing department, the Muppet characters exist in categories. There's the classic Muppets, the Sesame Street Muppets, the Muppet. I mean, they're just, the Muppets are divided up, and the core Muppets, you know, are the ones we're just talking about. The Electric Mayhem, they were never being talked about. Like publishing, they're classic Muppet characters, but they're third tier.
Yeah.
Now, I'm all for mining stuff. We got the Guardians of the Galaxy that way. I'm just simply saying you're not even utilizing your core Muppet characters properly. So
the Muppets are completely gone then.
Well, but the Muppets are supposed to be satire. So now what you're going to get is you're going to get this thing with the Electric Mayhem, and it's going to be some kooky ride to the concert. I am Dr. Teeth. Okay. You know, whatever. And then like it's going to be some bad voice, and it's not going to be Kermit, and Kermit's going to probably be marginalized, and it's going to be rethemed in 8 years.
Yeah.
It's a slapdash thing, so people can't say you took the Muppets out completely.
And they just refurbished the ride. I was like, what was the point of this entire shutdown? I don't know if it's like, you know, for the mechanical side of how the roller coaster operates, because let's be honest, they probably won't have to really change much with that. It's just like the retheming of the cosmetics, you know. But I'm just like, why are we doing this now? I just don't understand the logic behind this.
Well, yeah, so there's the annual maintenance. Excuse me.
Annual? It lasted a year.
Well, typically, excuse me, I choked on my coffee. Typically.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. You know, I don't know why they closed it so many times. I think the reason they closed it like 2 times within like 18 months recently was to assess it. So there may have been some maintenance upkeep, and then there may have been like, let's assess this thing for a retheme. Originally, it was going to be the Iron Man Avengers coaster from Paris. Originally, that was the retheme. And I heard that from people that worked on the Shanghai park. So it's a good source. I think what they did is, and this is, a lot of people go, oh, it's the Walt Disney Company. They don't operate this way. I assure you they do. I think just within the last couple months, post D23, somebody said, what if we just salvage the Muppet identity in the park, put them on Rock and Roller Coaster, and solve 2 problems with one solution, excuse me. And now on top of that, so I'm going to have all of Muppet Courtyard shut down. You're going to shut down Lightning McQueen, which I think is already shut down. You're going to shut down Rock and Roller Coaster. So most of the park is going to be shut down, and you're charging more than ever. You're going to have the same issue in Animal Kingdom. You're going to have the same issue in the Magic Kingdom. So
They're doing too much.
That's because they didn't have a plan. And you're going to say, and now I saw somebody on Twitter, say, oh, well, you have to respect the fact that they probably have a plan for the animation courtyard, and we're not privy to it because it extends beyond their 5-year plan, which is like, you're just, I don't know what you're smoking, because A, that makes no sense, because why would you leave something sitting there idle for 5 years, another further 5 years? That makes no sense. And then on top of that, I know for a fact that's how they operate as a company, to the extent that they haven't known for the longest time what to do with Star Wars Launch Bay, and to this day they probably still don't. I guarantee you the conversation was between those two locations. It was never decided wholly up front that they were going to get rid of the Muppets. They didn't know. They have options. There's just a building between Rock and Roller Coaster. There's just a cast member building behind Rock and Roller Coaster and Launch Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So they can easily put Monsters Inc. there if they wanted to, and have Muppets and Monsters Inc. exist in the park. They'd spend way more money on Monsters Inc. So what I think you're looking at is, let's not have a plan for Launch Bay. Let's let it sit there for a couple more years so we don't have to waste money on it, because we'd have to spend way more money over there than we do have to on the Muppets. Let's buy one stock roller coaster. Let's shut down the ride in California Adventure. Let's bring most of the theming over from the ride in California Adventure. And let's build this roller coaster, which is going to be a kiddie coaster, mind you. It's not going to be for you. And that's fine. These parks are meant to be for everybody. I'm not knocking it because it's going to be a kiddie coaster. I'm just saying you could have had both. You could have had both, and you could have built a Muppet Land. Because why own the Muppets? That's my gripe. Sell off the Muppets. All of this penny pinching. Sell off the Muppets. You make some money. Sell them back to the Henson family.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I understand that you don't have a connection to the Muppets. I would just argue as a whole, the company has no respect for legacy. And it's being shown time and time again. And that's my larger issue. Excuse me, I'm going to choke on more coffee.
Well, and I think it's obvious, too, because, Disney bought them, back in, the early 2000s? And, I mean, it just, they haven't felt relevant to me since Disney bought them. So I think that's where and I was, 10 years old when they bought them. So,
well,
you know what I mean? Anything new that came out after that, I wasn't interested or impressed or anything along those lines. So I didn't grow up with them.
I think part of the problem, and we can move off of this topic because I know there's other things you want to discuss, and I can talk more about this with the callers and everything. But Eisner pursued the acquisition of the Muppets directly with Jim Henson when Jim was alive. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Henson said to Michael Eisner, listen, I'll do this deal with you, but as we negotiate, the Sesame Street characters are off the table. They're sacred. So what happens is they have a handshake deal on Nothing is Papered, and Disney announces the Muppets. I think they even start introducing the Muppets into the park.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, and I'd have to read up on the details, but at some point, obviously, you have the attraction. But there was never a solidified relationship there, and there was never a solidified sale. So ultimately, it never happened because Eisner started to pressure Jim Henson for the Sesame Street characters, and Jim backed out. He felt betrayed. So you don't have a deal. Ultimately, Jim Henson passes away. There is a Muppet presence in the park forced by Eisner. And then it sits there, and nobody knows what to do with it because the very person that chased the acquisition, who had the vision, really never got the chance to implement, right? Because Eisner's on his way out post Frank Wells, right? Like everything Eisner does post Frank Wells passing away is data driven. Eisner just becomes an accountant. He loses his creative juice. And so
right.
I think the Muppets are like a stepchild to the Disney brand. And then what happens is EMTV I was actually working as an intern for the Jim Henson Company during this era. So I remember walking in to the Muppet Mansion. The Muppet Mansion was so cool because you walk in and there was a mural of all the Muppets sitting in a movie theater on the wall, like this tall wall mansion on the east side of Manhattan. You can imagine what a mansion on the east side of Manhattan looks like. And then there's all the waiting room seats were theater seats. So Jim Henson had a penthouse suite, I guess, up there. And I got to work with people that worked with Jim and just hear stories directly. But all that to say, they were going to then sell the company to EMTV, a German company. And these Germans wanted to use Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog to sell Mercedes-Benz to kids. All right? They were going to make the Muppets the face of Mercedes because and so I think it was a $640 million acquisition, which sounds rather cheap. Turns out they cooked their books, so there was fraud. So they wound up selling the Muppets back to the Henson Company for, I think, 10% of that price, roughly. Let's say $64 million. Then comes along Disney to sort of save the deal. So everything from day one between Disney and the Muppets has been a broken relationship. And by the way, you want to talk about, this is the video that should be made, right? Because people don't even understand the nuance of the relationship. But instead they want to make clickbait based off of concept art because they're desperate for attention. I'd rather just sit here and talk about it.
How original.
Well, I'm just saying, but people don't understand it, right? And I mean, it would make a good video, and I think of like Tori, who does like the Oz vlog and how she debunks things, But I know my Muppets, I know my Henson, and look, and there's precedent for Disney buying things and selling them. You probably don't know this, but Disney used to own the Power Rangers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they sold them. They had them in the park for a minute. They didn't know what to do with them. They sold them.
Huh.
Ham Saban, however you want to say his name, who created the Power Rangers. That's a whole other story. He made a play for the Muppets at one point. The Muppets had value.
Yeah.
The problem is they didn't preserve the value. That's the real issue. So your generation, you're about 10, 11 years younger than me, maybe a little bit more. Your generation really didn't have any quality Muppet content. And then the crap that they put out on Disney Plus is exactly. And by the way, I'm going to tell you something, because I have a story for everything. I've produced other people's content over the years. The guy that Disney hired, who created, I think, the Goldbergs. Was it the guy who created the Goldbergs?
Yeah.
Adam F. Goldberg, whatever it is. And then he did the Muppets. He's this schlubby guy. He was
yeah.
Let me tell you something. He's a lunatic and a creep. Okay, I used to argue with him over Twitter under somebody else's handle because I helped produce their Twitter account. And this guy was arguing. I mean, this guy was. I'm like, and I'd be like, why don't you focus on writing your show?
His name is Nicky Rubenstein.
Is that the character on the show?
On Entourage.
No, that's a different show.
No, I know. I'm just.
That's a different Adam Goldberg.
No, I just think of his name on Entourage when I see that actor.
But that's a different Adam. There's two Adam Goldbergs.
Oh, jeez. There's two Adam Gold. That's okay.
There's Adam Goldberg and Adam F. Goldberg.
Oh.
My head is a cesspool of worthless information. But yeah, no, the guy that created the Goldbergs is not the actor. But all I'm saying is he's a lunatic, and he was on Twitter arguing with Stuttering John for the longest time over nothing, and John just sitting there pounding away Coors Light. I'm like, you're producing a TV show, and the little bit I've seen, it's not funny. And maybe if you weren't on Twitter arguing, with never was, that instead of punching down, focus on your show, maybe the quality would be better.
Right.
So that comment will come back to bite me in the tuchus.
Well, and then take this into consideration, because I didn't realize this. Think about the timing of when Disney acquired the Muppets and then when they acquired Marvel. That's within a 5-year range.
I don't think that's accurate.
What do you mean?
I don't think that's an accurate statement.
Disney acquired the Muppets in 2004. And then they acquired Marvel in 2009.
Wow. Jeez. That's a small.
Think about the amount of money and effort that they have put into Marvel versus the Muppets. There you go. That's what happened.
What did they pay? What did they pay for the Muppets? What was the price tag? Do you know?
I can look that up. I do know that they paid $4 billion for Marvel.
I know. Well, $4.05 billion, I think, for Marvel, unless that was $4.05 billion for Lucas. Because I think,
and then $75 million for the Muppets.
$75 million, chump change, which is why they don't feel like they need to do anything with it. Yeah. So right. Lucas and Marvel were both like $4 billion plus deals.
Oh yeah. Geez, when did that happen?
Around the same time as Marvel. That's why I'm shocked to hear you say that. But I think personally for me, those years are like high school to college. Those are massive years. So that seems like a lifetime apart. But yeah, so the Henson acquisition would make sense. It was 2004 because it was 2003 going into 2004 because I was interning there. Okay, I was a junior in college. So they would have announced the acquisition and then the deal closing. So that would have been around then. I graduated college in 2003. So if they announced that deal and it took a year to close maybe, so I don't know where they're counting it. But I remember walking in and all of that happening. And I may have already left Henson because I just remember walking in and going, who bought us? And the woman, Lauren, in publishing goes, we bought us. And I go, what? And it was a very interesting time. All right, so that's 2004. 2009 is Marvel, and that was...
And 2012 is Lucasfilm.
And that's only 3 years later.
Crazy.
So how much was Marvel?
$4 billion.
And Lucas was 4.05?
Yes, 4.05 billion. So we're talking billions for both of these, and we're talking 75 million for the Muppets.
The 0.05, by the way, was ego, because
yes, right.
but to be fair, he kind of deserved it because he got so robbed. They paid like $1 million to George Lucas to use Star Wars in the park in the early days, a year. Like Eisner, because there was no precedent, so he was wholly getting ripped off. But he wanted more than Marvel, and Bob Iger in his book even says, he goes, I told him, he goes, George, you don't have the story, the catalog of stories that Marvel has. And he was like, I want more than Marvel. So 4.05 billion.
Hey, he got it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And that was all predicated on not paying capital gains taxes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done the deal.
Right.
No, he rushed to do the deal because there was a deadline. The capital gains laws were changing, and he wanted to get the deal done so he didn't have to pay it. It would have been I forget the numbers, but it would have, you could look it up. It's all there. It would have been a huge difference in a payout and taxes.
Yeah.
But to your point, 75 million versus billions. So the property doesn't even hold value. It's like, why'd you even buy it at that price? Like, so they should just sell it back to the Henson Company.
100%. The people that care about it.
Yeah, it's sad.
Right.
It saddens me. See, you got me all worked up.
You had me worked up too. I mean, you bring up the Muppets, and I'm like, oh, I told you how I felt about Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm more sad about this than I was about Rivers of America. So
do you remember the controversy over Rock and Roller Coaster probably, I'm going to say 8 years ago, if not longer, on the internet?
No.
All right. So you remember, first of all, I'm a massive Aerosmith fan. I do not go to a lot of concerts. I've seen Aerosmith in concert several times. So I love Rock and Roller Coaster. Always have.
Right.
So he comes in and he's like, how do people? All that whole shtick.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding his hands in the air at some point. I don't know if it's where in the equation. And he's making a gesture that the internet deemed to be sexual. Okay. I think as referring to to female anatomy. I think. All right, as I recall. But it was one of these things and I'm bringing up this for a larger point, of course. But there was all this. What do you want to call it? Scuttlebutt. Now I'm like 90 years old using that phrase. There's all this scuttlebutt on the internet. I remember a guy at work using that once, and I was like, what did you just say to me? But there was all this pushback on the internet, all this fake outrage on the internet over what Steven Tyler was doing in the pre-show, to the extent that Disney went in there and used CGI to redo his fingers so he was no longer making that hand motion.
Oh, my gosh.
That is Disney. That is the reactionary company that is Disney. So the reason I bring that up is Disney gives in the public pressure, and something
100%.
has changed with all of this outrage, and I don't know if it's because it's outrage in an echo chamber, You know, the whole Splash Mountain
Mhm.
retheming, they had millions of signatures. Millions.
Yeah.
But you don't have any traction for any of this stuff. Not Muppets, not Rivers of America. So, Disney's capable of reacting to public pressure. Rock and Roller Coaster is just a great example of that. Yeah, I'm going to miss it. I love Aerosmith. Making it Muppets is going to be cheesy because Disney thinks the Muppets appeal to kids, and that doesn't. And if it appeals to
Yeah, what
adults,
kid is riding this ride?
well, I don't know, but also it's just a misuse of the Muppets. And again, making it kind of an Electric Mayhem theme thing makes no sense. I mean, the
Right.
like if you don't know who the Muppets are, you don't know who the Electric Mayhem are. So I think that's just a temporary solution to solve the licensing issue with Aerosmith, to shut up some of the Muppet outrage, and eventually that will be
Yeah.
rethemed again. And that will
Well,
probably
and if
still
you're
wind up being Avengers one day.
Yeah. Well, and if you're talking about like the Muppets Mayhem from the new Disney Plus show that came out in 2023, like, was that tailored to kids? Was that tailored to adults? And if it was tailored to kids, they're not riding that ride. They're not telling us.
Well,
Like,
so the Adam Goldberg show, whatever nonsense that was, which wasn't the Electric Mayhem show, but it was like some Muppet show that he did, was all like frat humor. He didn't understand the Muppets. So like I remember in the
Yeah.
promos, Fozzie Bear is like farting. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's do a quick ad break. We have sponsors now. I'm very excited. Let me do a live read, and then you wanted to talk to me about a couple things. I know we were going to talk about airlines. We don't even have to get to that today, but you had a couple things you wanted to throw out at me. So,
yeah.
all right.
Get into the ad.
Ready to spice up your kitchen this holiday season? Pampered Chef has all the goodies from spatulas and mandolins to amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker to make your holiday cooking a breeze. Reach out to Colleen Herman at pamperedchef.com/PWS. Colleen Herman /PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. I know Colleen personally. She's a great person. On vacation and the unthinkable happens? Have you been injured in an accident? Don't wait to get the help you deserve when you need it the most. At the law offices of Nicole M. Kennedy, they fight for your rights and work tirelessly to get you the compensation you deserve. They're here to guide you through every step. Call now 305-213-5438 for a free consultation. You don't pay unless they win. You focused on the healing and let them handle the rest. The law offices of Nicole M. Kennedy, 305-213-5438, your trusted advocates in times of need. Last minute shipping from the parks. Check out my friends at the UPS store located on Old Brick Road, right behind the Magic Kingdom. Maybe you impulsively purchase that last minute lightsaber. Don't know how to get it on the airplane. They're going to help you out. They have a notary over there, too, for our friends that live locally, our cast member friends. So go check them out. Tell them Joe Coconut sent you. That is the UPS store at 6526 Old Brick Road. And as always, William.bailey is available for all of your travel needs. You can contact William.bailey at academytravel.com or use the form on my website. He can help you with Disney cruises, Disney parks, cruises, or just exploring anywhere in the world. Kensie loves to travel. She can point you to a new place to explore. Just call in and ask me, and then I'll ask her. Don't ping her. Leave Kensie alone. But check out William.bailey at academytravel.com. Sometimes we are so worried about this life and this moment that we forget to plan for those we leave behind. With no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and an incomplete or divided estate, and legal fights and fees. A will or trust is not just for the Rockefellers anymore. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law today to make an appointment and safeguard the future of those you love. Send an email to Russell at rklawpro.com to schedule your appointment. That's Russell at rklawpro.com. Those are the sponsors. Thank you, folks.
Wait, that was so fun.
Right? I mean,
Like it felt official.
I mean, I could have pre-recorded it, but I feel like doing the live read is more genuine, and people are paying. I'll read it.
Yeah. I was on mute because I started laughing when you were like, leave Kensie alone.
That was not in the script. I just, like, I know that I get a lot of messages, so I know inherently you probably get messages now because you're doing this. Like, I just know how it works. I know how it works.
Fine. You know. It's fine.
Okay. You were telling me something about work parties or white elephants, which I don't even get me started.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So this past week, I got bombarded with emails. You know, I'm in an office. We're in the business center of a hospital. So I have like a team within a team within a team, right? Like there's like my internal team. There's the, I won't get into like the details, but each team that I'm a part of wants to throw a holiday get together or party. And it, I just like was shaking my head at all these things that came through because I was like, listen, if you want to take 2 hours or an hour out of my work day and, you know, bring in lunch or something, I'm all for that. But when you throw in a suggestion to do a party or a get together on a Friday or Saturday, that's where I'm going to draw the line. I'm curious, like, what other people think and, like, what you think, but I think you have to really, really, really like your coworkers if you're going to see them on the weekend. And I just said, I was like, I'm not available. Like, I was available for maybe like 1 or 2 days that they threw out, but I have holiday parties. I have, you know, things that I'm supposed to do with my fiance's family. Like the last thing I want to do on a Friday or Saturday is get together with my coworkers and likely talk about work, right?
Well,
so
that should be done at work.
Throw out there.
No, but it's not. But it's not. It's a work event, therefore it's an obligation. Because if you don't show up, that's an issue.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like like in the TV industry, they'd have a rap party. So you're like, hey, let's go to the rap party. We'll go to the bar. We rap. We're done. Like, let's celebrate. Cheers. Like, this isn't that. Like, this is just an obligatory holiday party, and now you're forced to get a gift and do the whole. I say, if you're not doing it on the clock, give me a bonus or give me time off. I don't need it. I don't need to go waste. Why are you making me take my time out of my weekend? Like you said, I have all these other things to do a work event. Do it on the clock, or compensate me a different way.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen because I think we're still throwing out like some ideas and stuff, but you know, and then they talked about doing a lunch in the middle of the week for like the whole office, which I was like, that's fine. And then now there's a happy hour that's going to be like on a Monday. Again, I'm like, I don't know if I want to see you guys outside of work, but I'm okay with doing like a happy hour maybe at like 4:00. Typically I'm done at like 5. So
right. So maybe you like, oh, okay, I stayed at work an extra 45 minutes. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Would it be there? Would the happy hour be there? Or would you have to travel?
No, I'd have to travel, and like luckily Cincinnati's not too large, so I think we'd go to like a brewery or something. But you know,
I wouldn't do any of
I'm
it.
like, can't we make it like 3 on like a Thursday or something?
No,
But
no,
yeah.
no, I'm not up for. I don't. First of all, I couldn't deal. You probably, and I don't want you to answer this because I don't want you to get in trouble one day when somebody tells your coworkers to listen. But you probably don't even like the majority of your coworkers. So why do you want to socialize with them? Do you know what I mean? So I just know from being in an office environment how much I couldn't stand the majority of my coworkers. And even the ones I liked, it was only relative to the ones I really didn't like.
Right.
You know.
Well, and then they're throwing out the idea too that we should do like a white elephant or like a secret Santa, and I'm like, oh
Such
my
a nudge.
goodness.
Now I got homework.
I mean, yeah. Well, and you know, I have my own personal issue that I have to, you know, plan and fund a wedding next fall. But I'm like, on top of all the Christmas gifts that I have to get this year, why would I want to get one for a coworker?
Could you imagine though, like somebody saying like, Well, Kensie, it was your choice to get married. Like,
Oh my God.
mind your business. I just hear
I
that
know.
response. I just hear people like, I read an article the other day where like some woman like had just given birth and they were like, she had to come in to like take an exam for like law school. And the response from the school was like, sorry, you have to like bring this child with you even if you're breastfeeding. Like, sorry, motherhood's hard.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine saying that? Like, sorry, motherhood's a challenge. Like it's not for the, I think it's not for the weak or something like that.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I guess I'm kind of pivoting with this, but did you see I think it was the director of Wicked, like his wife was giving birth while they were having like one of their premieres or something, and he like zooms in that like he's on like FaceTime or something with everybody because he's like, I want to be there, but like physically I can't.
Wait, I honestly don't know where he was. He at the hospital or at the premiere?
He was at the hospital, but
okay.
They had him like virtually calling in.
Right.
I think like to do like an interview or do something because he couldn't be there, and I think obviously he really wanted to. This is
chose
his baby,
wisely.
but
yeah, you know what? That's fine because there's a part 2, so he can just go to the premiere of that.
Yeah, you're right.
Most people did not realize there's a part 2 of this movie, but whatever.
I was just gonna say that I just found that out like 3 days ago.
How? I've known that forever.
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Now I get an act 2. But can you imagine like going to that movie and then it ends at Defying Gravity and you're like, what?
That's when it ends? Thanks. Spoiler alert.
Well, it's Act 1. It's Act 1 and Act 2.
Does Defying Gravity close Act 1? I don't remember.
Yeah.
All right. I only saw Wicked once in the theaters. Like I just love the music.
Amazing.
Like I'm going for the music. All right, so hold on, because now like we're gonna go on a tangent because now I want to talk about Ariana Grande for a minute, but it's gonna bring us back to Disney, so I don't want to do it yet.
Okay.
And
okay.
We'll save it at the end because it'll tee up the radio show, like the live show. Which, by the way,
okay.
I love how these feed each other. The response has been great. I cannot wait to get to the day where this whole operation, this media company, is making so much money that we're doing this full time, being paid very well to do it. And you are an asset to this thing. But what we're doing with the callers, Kensie, you would love that. Just because, like, sitting here and taking those calls and hearing from people, like, it's so much fun. And I know you love radio, so I know you would love that.
Yeah. I know. I get jealous because, it's during the workday, so I listen where I can. But I get nervous if I call in that my boss is going to call me and be like, hey, can you chat? I'm like, oh, crap.
It'd be so. You should call in and do, like, a whisper and then, like, just hang up and be like, well, okay. But like Ellis is gold. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just.
Oh my God. Everybody loves Ellis, and having him call in, you guys going back and forth. I want him on this show.
Well, it's the same show.
Right, but like you have me now, and I want him here.
Oh, is that or we can do that right now? I could call Ellis right now, but I think we'll save that for a slow day.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's just great though. He has just another perspective on things. I was laughing so hard. I was almost in tears when you were trying to get him to call Lucas Films.
Yeah, and he did. Yeah. I like somebody was like, oh, Ellis should have a segment on the show. I'm like, what do you think is going on right now? Like, this is the segment.
Right.
Like, this is it.
It organically happened.
Right, but like I know that. Like Ellis is like a wave, and like when that tide comes in, like you just need to know what you're in for. And if you don't, you'll fail. I personally see the gold in everything Ellis says. And you just have to, sometimes the trick with Ellis is to stop talking and just leave dead air because another thought will pop up. It's like the lottery machine, the little ping pong balls, like they pop up. So That's all you do. If you run out of something to say with Ellis, just sit quietly, 6 to 8 seconds later, it's like set it, forget it kind of thing. There'll be a question. It might be out of left field.
Right. I'm waiting for his mom to call in.
Oh, Stephanie's the best. She'll get me in trouble. So, all right. I'll let's go back to the work thing for a second. So going back to the holiday thing, when I was an arcade tech at Disney, So I was a third-party company, but we only worked for Disney. So we were like third-tier cast members, which, by the way, they were like, oh, you don't get an ID. Just talk your way into every resort. You'll be fine. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, here's my schedule. Here's my shirt. Here's my tools. Go ahead, sir. Sweet, right? So just kind of a hodgepodge of a company. And they're like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. We're going to take you out for lunch. And there was an email. Where do you want to go? And it was like 5 or 6 choices. And they all voted for Golden Corral, which I had never been to.
Oh, my God.
And I know it's like a Ponderosa. Okay, I get it.
Yes.
But, like, there was a steakhouse on the list, right? And
it's the same thing.
And I worked on Thanksgiving that year. No. There was like a real steakhouse on the list.
I know, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Well, you got one on me. So the big boss is there, right? Real impressive guy, right? And that's sarcasm. And so I'm standing in line at Golden Corral, and he's like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I've never been here. He goes, yeah, we could have gone to a steakhouse. I'm like, we could have. He goes, yeah, but everybody voted for Golden Corral. And I was like, really? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, whatever. It's just like we're getting paid to be here, whatever. I'll get my holiday pay.
Who was paying for dinner?
He paid for the meal for everybody. But
why didn't they pick the steakhouse?
I don't know. They picked Golden Corral. It was really, really sad. And so, but I'm thinking, I'm like justifying in my head. I'm like, whatever. It's like we get holiday pay. Like this is just an extra bonus, And I'm sitting there because not everybody was working on the holiday, but I was. So I'm sitting there talking to the manager, and I'm like, so like, how is the holiday pay structured? And he goes, oh, there's no holiday pay. This is your holiday pay.
Oh, no.
So I had to work on Thanksgiving fixing arcade games at Disney World with no extra compensation for the holiday. All I got was a free lunch at Golden Corral on the clock. Actually,
not even dinner.
I wasn't on the clock, to be fair. I was clocked out.
Oh, my gosh. You're like, I'd rather you just pay me than spend money on, I'll eat at home.
Yeah. Give me the $20 you gave Golden Corral to me, and I'll go get like $5 sushi from Publix. I'll be much but like, it was so gross. It was so gross.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you all had the option to go somewhere nice. But for me, it was just more of, so you have us working on the holiday with no holiday compensation. How is that not illegal?
Right. That's terrible.
Now, I had an office at the Contemporary, so I hid out over there most of that day. I did whatever I had to do, and then I just like hung out because I was like, whatever. And the Contemporary had Thanksgiving plated dinners all day long, 99 cents for cast members.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was cool.
That is cool.
Like full-on turkey, stuffing, cranberry, like a full-on plate for 99 cents for cast members. So I thought that was
third-party cast members.
Yeah, because I ate it. I mean, I'm back. Nobody's questioning your existence when you're backstage, right? So
True.
So yeah, but it was like, I'm like, look, Disney's doing it. Like Disney's giving us at least, I mean, I know we have to pay the 99 cents, but so what? Disney's giving me a full-on Thanksgiving plate for 99 cents. You took me to the Golden Corral.
Yeah.
We're only supposed to get one of those 99-cent plates. I came back later. Nobody cared. I got 2.
Whatever.
But it's just like, so yeah, so don't invite me to your holiday. If you're going to do it on the clock. But moreover, nobody wants any of that stuff. Compensate your employees. Stop being cheap.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. And like, I feel like sometimes, going back to my comment about the potluck, I think they want to do a potluck. You know how I feel about those. I'm like, I'm just going to bring in my own food.
That's so gross. And also they're doing that so they don't have to spend any money. So now you're making your employees spend more money?
Oh my gosh. I will tell you the culture shock that I had to go through, because I've only been in healthcare for 2.5 years. And before I was in marketing for a CPG company. Wow. Like, yeah, it's just sad. But like when you look at healthcare, and I said this to somebody, I was like, I'm used to the glamorous side of a work culture, and they were like, well, if you think about it, if the company spends money on their employees and healthcare, then it's like, should that money have been spent towards like our frontline staff and equipment and other things that
Yeah, but
are impacting
that's
our
to
patients?
suggest
And I'm
that
like,
you don't
okay,
have
that's
money
fair.
for both.
They don't. It's healthcare.
They should, because it's healthcare.
Well, we're in America, so.
But that's the other issue, right? I mean, like look at all the funding that's about to get cut. Like I read the other day that the VA funding is going to get cut.
And I texted you when they announced the head of Medicare and Medicaid services.
Wait, who is it?
Dr. Oz.
Oh, it is Dr. Okay, so by the way, do you think Oprah like just kicks herself at night for creating Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil?
She has to. She really has to.
Because like irrespective of anybody who's listening's politics, right? Like just irrespective of politics, just she obviously where she stands and where those two stand. They're completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum from each other, but she created them.
Right.
Who was the other one? Nate Berkus? Do we know? Nate Berkus is probably a Jill Stein supporter.
I have no idea. Every time I look at it, I just shake my head and go back to what I was doing.
But like that's Oprah's spinoff. Like imagine, remember when Friends spun off Joey?
Mm-hmm.
And it lasted like 2 seasons. And it only lasted 2 seasons because they didn't want it to look like a total flop.
Right.
So they were like, okay, we can afford this. We made so much Friends money. Okay. But like that was the spinoff, and it was marginal at best. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that was good about Friends did not exist in the Joey spinoff. Everything that was, made Oprah, whether you like her or not, it's lost in Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz. I mean, the only reason they ever got careers is because she had them on so much. They got enough of a percentage rate off of her clout to like. It's almost like if somebody retweeted something and you picked up 10% of their followers from a retweet. I mean, like that's what these guys are. They're like Oprah retweets. I mean, Dr. Phil's got nothing to offer this world. Dr. Oz has nothing to offer this world. Huh?
Right.
No. And I mean,
I'm agreeing.
I'm not like a big Oprah person at all, but I respect what she built for herself. I think she's problematic actually. But she was hugely successful, so you have to pay respect for that. Those guys just made their success off of her back.
I even had to Google if Dr. Oz was a real doctor.
Should have just texted me. I would have told you no.
Like, I mean,
Dr. Phil's not a real doctor either.
When I look at like Dr. Oz, or when I think about him, all I think about is like him promoting these multi-level marketing nutrition companies like Herbalife or something that's just like, what?
By the way, speaking of Herbalife, that's our newest sponsor. So no, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he's
Next you're gonna tell me that Mary Kay is our sponsor too.
The Olsen twins?
No, the makeup company.
I know who Mary Kay is, relax. No, I think Oprah's got to be like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? Because those guys on their own, I mean, they had something going on, but it was her,
right.
That drives me wild because I can't stand either of them. And because they have doctor in front of their name, most people think they're an authoritative figure, and they're not.
I mean, I quite literally had a doctor that I work with text me and said, LOL, we now report to Dr. Oz. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I was just like, oh my God. Because, my hospital takes care of primarily Medicare and Medicaid patients, so
right.
Like the unofficial community hospital. But that's real.
I mean, but Bill Cosby's a doctor, right?
What?
He's got an honorary doctorate.
feel like anybody could just be a doctor.
That's what I'm saying. I'm Dr. Royce. I found a website. It was like $14.99. I used PayPal, and it turns out I'm a doctor. I have an honorary doctorate from BSU.
Oh my gosh.
I do. You will now call me Dr. Royce. I'm an expert in my field. It's not really a field. It's a small patch of grass.
That's the sad part about all this is like people think that just because they have a title next to their name that they're fully equipped to be an expert in that, whatever the field is.
Well, but okay, so my thought there is like what level of deception are these guys operating at? Because they're not doctors. So they're out there like trying to be like they're trying to like be positive influences on people, but they're using deception, right? In other words, you're not a doctor, so why are you lying to me that you're a doctor? And how cynical are you that you keep calling yourself a doctor?
Right.
So how good could your information be, and how good-natured could your desire to help be if you're constantly, alluding to the fact that you're a doctor when you're not? And Kensie, scams, another reoccurring theme on this podcast. And it's funny, I saw somebody say online the other day, everything's a scam. I'm like, preach. But how is it that we accept Dr. Phil? If I said Dr. Steve Harvey, you know what I mean? They're talk show hosts. By the way, remember.
Right, who don't belong in office.
No. Remind me one day. I'm going to play. Do you remember the Greg Barrett show?
No.
I think Greg Barrett wrote he wrote some book. I don't think he did the Women Are Mars and Venus, but he wrote some book, and they gave him a talk show. These talk shows are all staged. All these talk shows are staged, right? So these aren't authoritative figures. They're all basically actors, But anyway,
100%.
I went on the show. There's a whole story for it for another day, but I went on the show to profess my love to this girl. And she had to find the note of my love inside a piece of cheesecake. And I'm sitting there sweating bullets, not because I'm nervous that this girl's going to reject me, but I never met the girl before because I called into the talk show. They cast me, and then I went out and sent out a casting call for her. So the first time I ever met this girl is on the stage. So I'm sweating bullets because I think I'm going to get busted by the producer. But obviously they would never bust me because they needed the show.
Right.
So I'm like, and Greg Barrett's like, Royce, you're real nervous right now. I'm like, I just really want this to work out for me, Then they called me back to do an update, and it was the day the show got canceled. But
oh, nice.
Yeah, so I have the video. Like I could play you for you, like me professing my love to this girl and her taking, eating the cheesecake and all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see that.
That might be for TV remix subscribers only, but. But anyway, so talk shows are a funny thing, but they're all made up, right? They're scripted. So all of that to say that, like, who's Dr. Phil? He's nobody. He's just a talk show host. And talk show hosts are nobodies.
I think his doctorate is in, like, psychology or something.
I don't care. I don't care what it's in. It's probably not even a doctor. He's probably an honorary doctorate. Maybe he has a legitimate doctorate, but it could be he might have the same level of honorary doctorate as Bill Cosby. The bottom line is he's nothing more than a talk show host. He's not a practicing doctor. He never was.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you another one, and I'm going to get into this on the radio this week. Another one I don't like is this Neil deGrasse Tyson. These guys come out. You know who I'm talking about? The self-proclaimed astrophysicist or whatever the hell he is?
Oh, yeah.
He's a creep.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, he was selling snake oil. And I heard him on Bill Maher, a clip of him on Bill Maher the other night, who's another one who has fallen off greatly. But he sounded like a fool. And I'm like, these are the people you look up to because they're all glorified talk show hosts that are sold on the public. These guys, these Dr. Oz's and this Dr. Phil's came on Oprah's show as authoritative figures. She sold them as such. So in many ways, she's complicit. But they're cynical people. They're all, Oprah's cynical too. They're all cynical people. But they're on opposite ends of the spectrum
they're
now.
in Hollywood.
Well, that's something to be said too. Hollywood's a beast. But also, when you're talking about power, I mean, at that level, you're going to shake out on one side or the other. There's no middle ground. So
No.
they're both making boatloads of money playing the same game, but they're on two different sides. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm sure Oprah made a ton of money off of them, as they are now in turn off of her. But, I mean, I don't know. Do you really think Oprah's up to any good? Like, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, like, because I don't like them that I'm defending her. I'm just pointing out the fact that she spawned them, for better or worse. And it's like I don't want to call it good versus evil, because it's not. In many ways, they're like two different antagonists. But it's just remarkable to me that they are two completely different people from an ideological perspective, but she put him on. You know what I mean? Like, would she have put him on if she knew that he was that guy? Would she have ever built Dr. Oz up to get to the level that he's getting to?
No, but I mean, it was a different world back then.
Right, and nobody. I mean, you could say the same thing for Trump. I don't know. The whole thing's weird. We elect our politicians off of charisma and not off of policy.
Yeah.
And that changed with television. Obviously, television was the thing that made all of that different, because when you can only hear somebody and not see them, the way you listen to what they have to say changes. But we elect people based off of all the wrong characteristics. So it's a shame that because somebody's a TV personality that gives them an extra boost to take office. I don't want The Rock to ever be president. And there was a point in time where people were telling him to run, and he was thinking of doing it. I do not need Dwayne Johnson as no.
What about when people were trying to get Kanye West to run for president? I was like, please, I quite literally will leave this country.
I wouldn't get Kanye West to run a marathon, okay? Let alone the country. But the thing with Kanye West, and Cat Williams said it on the Club Shay Shay interview, but the thing with that is like Kanye West obviously has issues, so why do we expect him to ever say the right thing or do the right thing is beyond my comprehension. Like, leave him alone and stop pretending like we expect him to say better or do better, because he's obviously got problems.
Obviously.
But yet, and that was like Cat Williams' whole take. So, because we're already going over here, the thing to bring it back to the wicked Ariana Grande stuff. Ariana Grande made a plea recently for Disney to not get rid of Tower of Terror in Hollywood studios.
I saw that.
But the video I just saw for the first time this morning, actually, of her reading the letter she first wrote during the pandemic that she never posted. She wrote an open letter to Disney World. And I don't know what show she was on, but she was on some iHeartRadio show with Bo and Yang from SNL, and she read it. Yep. So I'll play it on the radio this week. But I had only seen a couple weeks ago the statements from her telling them to save it. I had never heard the actual clip of her reading the letter.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big Disney fan. But, I mean, look, does she know something? Probably not. Will that ride get rethemed eventually? Almost guaranteed.
That would be so sad.
It's going to happen. So I when I heard that a few weeks ago, I'm like, well, she's kind of ahead of it. Like, we could really use her taking up these other causes. But I think she knows. It's inevitable. At some point, they're going to retheme that. It's not going to fit over there. Nothing fits anymore. Everything's just a hodgepodge. But still, I think
I was just going to say that.
But then you go, well, what is the value of Tower? Like, what's the IP?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So props to her. I'll play that then. But you need somebody like that to be loud about Rivers of America, and you need somebody like that. It's probably too late to be loud about Muppets, but that is such a mouthful for me to say. Rivers of America is...
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't even say it once. Rivers of America, Rivers of America, Rivers of America, Rivers of America. I guess I can. But if I'm not trying, it just slurs together. I'm like, rivers of river. But yeah, so
Don't cut this out. Don't cut this out.
I'm not cutting any of this out. No, who cares? So I just think that, like, if we could get the right advocate with a loud enough mouthpiece, a la someone like her, then maybe there's a chance for Rivers. I at this point, I don't know. I personally feel like exhausted by it all. It's just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision.
Yeah.
We could have had Muppets and we could have had Monsters, Inc. both. There's no reason to. I just don't know why you own something if you're not using it. And if you don't understand how to use it, sell it.
Well, and I think we could save this for probably another day, but think about, like, all the other things that need to be fixed or filled in before they start changing things and adding more. Like, I think about where Stitch's Great Escape was, and when I heard that they possibly could be moving Laugh Floor, I was like, great, another abandoned spot in Magic Kingdom. Like,
but you didn't hear that from any real source. You just heard that from somebody who's running their mouth. That's the problem with the internet.
I know, but like, my mind automatically went to, like, that is just going to sit for years to come.
Ugh.
So, but yeah, I think conversation for probably another day.
Yeah, and I also wanted to talk to you about travel and airfare and airlines and airport lounges. I'm very excited now to I'm going to be going to New York to TikTok headquarters next month, I think.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll get to use the lounge. But Kensie, it's a whole other world up there.
I might have to upgrade my credit card.
I'm telling you to do it. I think it's worth it, especially when you consider what you get for it. We could table this for another show, but it pays for itself.
I know. Maybe I need to when my honeymoon comes around so I can use the Delta Lounge, wherever we're flying to.
Or you do it now and get all those miles for your wedding. Get all those miles on the card.
True. True. I'm being influenced.
It's my job. All right. I have to read the ads one more time. That's part of the deal.
All right. Let's do it.
So what I said to everybody was, look, I'm going to give an introductory offer and do 2 ads per show. And I'm building up another revenue stream, right? So last week I didn't have any advertisers. We have 5. Ready to spice up your kitchen this holiday season? Pampered Chef has all the goodies, from spatulas and mandolins to amazing pots, pans, and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker to make your holiday cooking a breeze. Reach out to Colleen Herman, pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. On vacation and the unthinkable happens. Have you been injured in an accident? Don't wait. Get the help you deserve when you need it the most at the law offices of Nicole M. Kennedy. They fight for your rights and work tirelessly to get you the compensation you deserve. They're here to guide you through every step. Call now, 305-213-5438, 305-213-5438 for a free consultation. You don't pay unless they win. Let you focus on the healing. Let them handle the rest. The law office of Nicole M. Kennedy, your trusted advocate in times of need. Last minute shopping from the parks? Did you possibly purchase that impulsive lightsaber at the last minute and now you don't know how to get it on the airplane? Check out my friends at the UPS store located behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road for all of your shipping needs. If you're local, they've got a notary, so contact the UPS store, 6526 Old Brick Road. That information is also located in my Instagram profile. Tell them Joe Coconut sent you. And, of course, William.bailey Travel for all of your travel needs. He's available to help you plan destinations around the world. Disney cruises, or just exploring a new country for the first time. He provides customizable experiences at competitive rates. Check out William.bailey Travel or fill out the form at Royces.com. He will help you out. William.bailey at academytravel.com. William.bailey at academytravel.com. And sometimes, Kensie, we are so worried about this life and this moment that we forget to plan for the life that we leave behind for our loved ones. With no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and incomplete or divided estate, and legal fights and fees. A will or trust is not just for the Rockefellers these days. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law today to make an appointment and safeguard the future of those you love. Send an email to Russell at rklawpro.com. Send an email to Russell at rklawpro.com to schedule your appointment today. Those are the sponsors. It's amazing.
I love it. And I love that it's for people that listen to the show. I love it that it's for small businesses. It's just great.
And there's an opportunity. If you want to join the group of sponsors, I put the link out. Kensie put a form together. It's on my stories. So that's out there now. You can always ask for it in the Discord or just reach out to one of us and join the roster, I should say, of sponsors. What else, Ken? Do you have Thanksgiving plans?
Yeah, I'm going to go back home and see my family in Michigan. So just going to head up, I think, tomorrow. And today's Saturday, right? Yeah, just be with family.
Do you fly?
No, I drive.
How long?
6 hours.
Ugh.
I know. It's okay. I'm used to it.
And is your sister going to join?
No, she's staying in Orlando. So.
Who's she having Thanksgiving with?
I don't know. I think she said she's having dinner with some people. I know she's been really big into this run club lately, so I think it's some people from that. But we have this iconic corn casserole that we make every Thanksgiving, and she was like, I may or may not make it, but a lot of the people I'm having Thanksgiving with are super healthy and gluten free and all this stuff. And I was like, that sounds so awful for Thanksgiving. What kind of healthy food are you going to eat on Thanksgiving?
Well, listen, I'm alone. There's nobody to cook for me. If she's cooking, she's close. I won't.
You don't want her to cook.
I won't not answer the door for free food.
You don't want her to cook.
She would have cooked for me anyway. Your sister hates me. I'm convinced she hates me. And I don't know why. I never did anything to this woman.
Why do you think she hates you?
I don't know. I just needed something to end the show with. No, but she's she's close. So, I mean, maybe she's making a pecan pie. I'm just saying, float it to her. She has my number. If she's, I'm not.
Also, yeah.
If there's a free dessert to be had, I'm not adverse to pastries, okay?
Listen, anything sounds better than eating with a group of people that want to make Thanksgiving healthy and gluten-free.
No. Listen, I don't even and we'll end with this because this is just another topic we can talk about. But if you really think about how much people are going to eat at Thanksgiving, how much food is going to be wasted, and how we as a culture really just eat to eat and we don't eat for nutrition.
Well, yeah. But you're allowed to do that on Thanksgiving.
No, I know, but I don't even want to. I went to the doctor for a physical the other day. And I was saying to her, she's like, you have any concerns? I'm like, no, I really just have to establish care. It's been a minute, but I do want to lose weight. And she said a phrase that I thought was really, for me, it clicked because I have a business mind. But she was like, think of your mouth as business hours. And she's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time you choose, close for business.
Yeah.
You want to have a cup of coffee? Great. And of course, that lights my fire because I could just be like, all right, food is done at 7 and we sip coffee. Because I'll still get something from that. But just the mechanism of closed for business. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, I started looking at what I'm eating and, how much processed food we take in and all this. So I started to kind of reconfigure what I buy from the grocery store. So this morning I woke up at 6:30 in the morning. I made 3 eggs. I had 3 eggs with an avocado, a whole avocado.
Yeah.
All right. A banana a little bit later. Some chicken, some rice for a meal, stuff like that. And you just realize that, like, unless you start to think about things from the perspective of eating nutritiously, all we do is eat for flavor. That's all we do is eat for flavor.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a huge foodie, but I'm very, I guess, like, conscientious of what I'm putting into my body because, you know, I grew up on all the artificial crap. It's like, obviously it tastes good. And I told you about that time in Croatia where I had that, like, pita sandwich, and I was like, this just tastes very bland.
Right.
But I'm sure it's full of, like, very nutritious and, like, rich ingredients. But everything we eat here is just packed with, like, MSG and sodium.
Correct. Salt and sugar.
Yeah. But I feel like Thanksgiving's a pass. I do.
No, I get it. I just don't. I'm not. I mean, I'll be here, so I'm not doing anything, and I'm not going to go seek out some big fancy meal. I don't even care. You know, like.
Yeah, I'm a traditional person, so if I'm not going home, then, you know, I won't go all out, but I'm going home.
Right. Well, good. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and other than, I'm sure we'll talk, but other than that, I will see you next week.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.